In this video, we're going to discuss some of the reasons that stop people competing and why you should just jump in and do a competition if competing is something that you want to try. A common cycle that we see is that a competition is announced, people get all psyched up, they train harder for the next 6-8 weeks, and either they get injured or they burn out and they no longer want to do the competition. They're not feeling like they're in a peak performance state and not feeling like they're good enough to do the competition. Now there's two aspects to this. One is the training side. The amount of work capacity that you have is the amount of work capacity that you have. You can train to improve this, but if you just ramp up the training 6-8 weeks before a competition, it's just taxing more energy out of the system, and it's just going to slowly start to grind you down unless you've got appropriate deload weeks in there or an appropriate level of stimulus just to tire you out enough, but then recovers you well enough that you can spike up that next level of training program. In this scenario, we suggest that you keep training exactly the way you are, but start adding in some competition-specific skills like route reading and flashing, and even brushing, making sure that you're going through and cleaning the whole climb and inspecting it well enough that when you pull on, you know exactly what's coming. Competition climbing is a skill set in its own right. We can have a really good climber who doesn't have the best head game or doesn't cope well with pressure, and they're just going to fall apart during a competition. Vice versa, you can have a not so strong climber who has very strong head game or really believes that they can do well in competitions, who will place a lot higher. The only way to practice this skill is to get into competitions and start doing it, or start working with a coach on competition style stimulus that's going to help to stress you out a little bit and challenge you to become a better climber under more stressful situations. So if you want to get out there and try competitions, just get in and do it. Don't change too much about your training. You might get some competition specific practice in, but don't put any pressure on yourself to be first in this competition. You need to compete lots in order to understand competitions, understand your strengths and weaknesses during a competition setting, and just be aware that during a competition, you're not competing against the other climbers. You're competing against the route setters. The route setter is there to try identify and highlight your weaknesses or bring out those conditions which are going to help you falter in your climbing quality and fall off the wall. Picturing competitions in this light can really help to change your mindset away from you competing against everyone else to you competing against the one person or the couple of people that set that route. Give yourself time to debrief at the end of the competition. Once your emotions have settled down, whether it be from being pissed off that you did really poorly or not as well as you expected, or that you are coming down from a high of winning the competition that you did, come back, look at the things that you can improve on, look at the things that you did really well, and set yourself a game plan for the next competition. At the end of the day, a competition is just a competition. It's a set number of boulders that you have a set amount of time to complete. You've got to expect that at some point you're going to come out and there's going to be a boulder that you can't pull onto, but at some point there's going to be ones that you can flash. You might have 5, 6, 10 boulders that suit your style. You might have 5, 6, 10 boulders that are completely in your anti-style that you're going to struggle with a lot more. With your training, try and fill these gaps. Try and create yourself into a well-rounded climber. Approach competitions from a perspective of you've got something to learn. Even if you don't win, you walk away growing as a climber.